Serious home invasion in Point Cook, gate crashing of the party. Reports of anywhere from sort of 50 to 200 people. The house was looted and a fairly scary incident all round. Maddie's on the line from Point Cook, who lives with her mum and her partner in the neighbourhood where the gate crashing took place over the weekend. Hey, Maddie, thanks for emailing us yesterday and then coming on to tell your story. I'm assuming pretty frightening time in your part of the world.
Yeah, it was a pretty scary event on Saturday night.
So what happened, Maddie? Tell us, how did it come to be in your life? What happened?
Basically, the kids, their dad was out of town and they just threw a party. Nothing really out of the ordinary for teenagers. It's been reported that the party was advertised on Facebook. It wasn't. So I feel bad for the kids for that.
Yep.
But what happened is at about 11:30, hundreds, like 200 to 300 kids aged between 14 and 20 just rocked up at the house.
So how did they find out? Was it on a closed site on Facebook?
No, they didn't post anything about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
They basically just told their friends told their friends, stuff like that. So
Okay.
it kind of, word got out as it normally would for something like this anyway. I think it was just really bad luck that it turned out the way it did.
So what have you spoken to the kids who had the party since then? How has the response been when Mum and Dad found out about it?
They're really shaken. I think that their dad, because it's just their dad, is just really happy that they're okay.
Yeah.
Obviously they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But
we're in trouble.
like,
There's nothing they could do. But
you're not going to throw a party and expect that it's going to turn out like that. Like it doesn't happen, and it definitely doesn't happen around here.
Well, it seems to happen a lot more these days, Maddie. Yeah,
exactly.
What happened to the house? Did we understand that the place was basically looted?
So what happened is that the police were called because all these people were out in the street. The police couldn't do anything because they were so outnumbered. And so after they left, the kids started bashing in the front of the house. They bashed in like the front window, which is quite a big window. They bashed in the front door. They then ran around the back because there's a vacant lot at the back. And they jumped the back fence and started bashing the house from the back.
Jeez.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we didn't even know if the kids inside were still alive. I've spoken to one of them, and he said that he was on the phones with the police the whole time. They wouldn't send anyone. They wouldn't send an ambulance, nothing. One of their friends was inside because he'd been hit over the head. He was in and out of consciousness.
Yeah, terrifying, Maddie.
And like, he's 15. He's 17, so like you don't have a lot of life experience. You don't really know how to deal with these things, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like the police could have done a little bit more, but I understand they're outnumbered. But
why did they leave? Can I ask? So if they're out there and there's kids out the front, and it's obviously an ugly situation.
They left because they were outnumbered, but you think that they could have stayed at a distance, or they could have sent in more cars, because at the end they sent the SWAT team, and it took a long time for the SWAT team to get here. But I don't know. In that time between the police leaving and the SWAT team, there was no one here, and no one felt safe. No one on this street felt safe.
Matt, is it true your mum basically said, put your jackets, put your shoes on? We might have to get out of here pretty quickly.
Yeah, Mum was crying because she was scared. I felt so bad for her. And she said, because there's a lot of kids in my family, make sure they've all got their jackets and their shoes on because we might have to run at any minute.
And Maddie, so you thought it might escalate and they might just start kicking in houses up and down the street, did you?
Yes. Oh, they didn't kick in any houses up and down the street, but we were worried they would.
Yeah.
We were surprised the next day when we walked up the street and no one's cars had been touched. No other houses had been touched. Like, It was because they're running up and down the streets as well. Yeah. So we thought, like, for sure, like, someone's car is going to get broken into. Someone's house is going to get broken into.
Maddie, does everyone know who it was who invaded the houses?
The police are saying they don't know.
Yeah.
They are saying there was no Apex involvement, but they were marching up and down the street screaming the word Apex, just the same as they were at Moomba.
Yeah. Were they local kids, do you know?
No, they weren't locals. I grew up around here. One of the neighbours, he is the same age as like the kids who threw the party. We didn't recognise a single person who was doing the invasion.
Okay, so they've come from out of the area to come in. Maddie, thank you. You've given us a very articulate and painted the picture beautifully for what actually happened. It must have been so
it was absolutely
frightening.
Terrifying. Like, you don't think this stuff's going to happen. This stuff belongs on TV.
Yeah, horrible, Maddie. Yeah, thanks for sharing your story this morning. We appreciate it, Maddie from Point Cook.
Maddie's 19, by the way,
Yeah.
and is the oldest child in her family. Youngest is 2 years of age, so family, she's in a house full of kids there.
This is unacceptable.
Maddie emailed us after our story yesterday when we were talking about this, and just a terrible, terrible situation. So we'll hopefully get Delisa Neville, who's the new police minister, on the show in the next few days and just address this because, as we said, there's sophisticated extortion going on and there's unsophisticated extortion, but left, right and centre there's extortion.
The fact that a group can stare down the police and the police leave,
When it's obviously a combustible situation,
is hard to get your head around that.